Hey guys, how's it going? Looks like it, yeah, the app, I think the trick with YouTube Live, if you're using the phone, is to not take multiple photos. Somehow that crashes the app. You gotta nail your thumbnail like on one shot. Let me share the link. I hope you guys are doing awesome. I'm doing this on my phone today because I'm gonna try to do something different. I'm gonna try and take this over to the whiteboard and draw some graphs for this. Share on Twitter. All right, let me pull up the chat too. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a good week. Let me pull this up. All right. Hey, 2 people here now. Probably one of them is me. Hi everyone. How's it going? Yeah, things are good. My daughter's finishing up school this week. We got some vacation coming up. Yeah, it's still kind of a nice week. Raining a little bit, but yeah, the weather's it's just been such a perfect summer. We've been so spoiled in Chicago this summer. I've really we've lucked out. All right, so again, I'm gonna keep trying to keep these things to just about 10 minutes. So here we go. I want to talk about this concept of peaking, and I think a lot of us feel like, some of us maybe, if we're creative, we think, we struggle with, do we think are our best ideas behind us? Are we just getting worse? There's a author that I have followed, and a writer, and he has struggled with his books. He's written a lot of magazine publications, but he was struggling to get a book published. Even after 4 attempts, he couldn't get a book published. He eventually finishes up a manuscript, and he hates it. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the story. He doesn't like the characters. He doesn't relate to the characters either. So he doesn't even see how he could finish. He can't write this book. He ends up throwing it in the trash. I think a lot of us feel this guy's frustration. We're in that same place. We want. We're doing this thing, but we're not. How do we suck less? And even more so, how do we get stuff to get more traction? How do we at least get other people to think we are sucking less? I'll get back to this guy in one minute. But there's a guy, very famous professor of psychology, a guy named Dean Simonton. He's spent his whole career studying genius and creativity. He's written up and he's cited by a lot of people. He's got some interesting stuff, lots of interesting stuff over the years. But one paper that stands out is in 1977. He wanted to know this type of thing. He wanted to know about how musical composers peak. And he went and he looked at 10 major composers, and he wanted to what does time do to their quality and their maturity as artists, and how much people know about their stuff. So what he did was he compared their major work to their minor work. Major work being the stuff that went popular and got famous. The minor work stuff that didn't get traction. And he wanted to know, do we peak, right? If we peak, then we should see that inverted U curve, right? I think most of us expect it. Here's where I'm gonna do fancy graphing, right? So people know about this inverted U curve, right? Or it comes up a lot in a lot of different scenarios. But it's basically this, right? It's this idea that there's the best is at some point here, right? And then a lot of us, I think, find ourselves here, now, and we're worried that our best is gone behind us, right? And so this is the major stuff. This is the percentage of major stuff to minor stuff. So this percentage, I think a lot of people think is getting worse. We're putting out more minor stuff as time goes on than we are doing major work, stuff that gets traction. And so that's what you'd expect. I think a lot of people expect that. But that's not what this guy Dean finds out. What this guy Dean finds out is, that's not true. What he finds out is this line isn't an inverted U curve. It's actually straight. It's completely constant over the lifespan of these folks. So these composers weren't getting worse with time. Like they stayed consistent. And if you were to see anybody peak, if you were worried that anybody, if you saw someone and you saw that like, well, their major work started to kind of drop off, it wasn't because of their quality. It wasn't because of their, their proficiency. It was because of their productivity. It was because they stopped being as prolific as they used to be. It's quantity, not quality for these geniuses. If you think about that time doesn't, get us to the point where we're actually getting better. There's like another fallout from this, which is that we're actually not very good at predicting the quality of our own work. And we don't get better at it either. When we, wisdom doesn't come with age. We continually don't know the stuff that we put out, whether it's good or not. We put out things like a Beethoven has to keep putting out things, and the stuff he predicts is going to be good. His favorite stuff, his favorite sonatas, his favorite symphonies, isn't major stuff. It isn't the stuff that you hear played by orchestras today. So he was a terrible predictor of what was good, and I think you see that across all disciplines on average. Another thing that you kind of see, Adam Grant, I think is the name of the guy. He writes a book called Originals. He writes a lot about Dean's stuff, and he mentions in his book, that another aspect of this is because you can't tell what's good or bad, you're constantly just like throwing out your stuff, even the good stuff. If you were confident, you knew what was good, you would probably just stop. But like a guy like Beethoven, his Fifth Symphony, he threw out like the end of it, and then he stopped working on it, and then he goes back to it, and in what Dean calls backtracking. The best of us, the most creative of us, are like backtracking and reinventing and retrying. We keep getting into dead ends and then going back and starting over again. I think a lot of us that come to creative things in our lives, like the people that I think are having a hard time getting any traction, it's not so much that people aren't paying attention, it's that they're stuck on just one project. And they think they do one thing. They write one article, they make one painting, they write one piece of software, create just one business idea, and they're set on it. They think they've predicted this is the best, and this is the best they're ever going to do, and they're stuck on it. And they might revise it a little bit, but they don't throw it away. They don't backtrack. They just keep trying to push it, that one thing, over and over and over again. And that's from Dean's work. That's not what works for the best of us. That's the geniuses and the creative people that you find, they don't know. They just keep being prolific and putting stuff out there. They're playing the odds, and that's how they're winning the game. So let's go back to the writer guy. The writer guy, he comes home one night from his terrible job. He's got a teaching job. He's not getting enough money to even like make ends meet. His wife had dug the manuscript out of the trash, and she's interested in it. She actually can see that this thing is actually kind of interesting. She wants him to finish it, and so he he does, and he finishes the manuscript, gets her help on it, finishing these characters he doesn't really understand that well, and he sends it off to publishers. But he moves on. He doesn't even think about this book anymore. He moves on because all he wants to do is write. The guy has been writing for so long before this, and he just keeps writing after this. Like, he's not going to get stuck on that one project. I mean, he did rewrite a bunch of it when his wife wanted him to, when she found it in the trash, but he finished it, and he got it done and moved on. He got a deal. Doubleday calls him up. They give him a paperback deal, a hardcover book deal. Not for a lot, like for $2,500, but then the paperback book deal happened soon after that. And a lot of us know this book and this author. Stephen King publishes Carrie, his fourth book that he had written, but I think only the first one that had ever gotten published. The paperback rights for that book was a $400,000 advance. He sold over 1 million copies of that book in the first year alone. It became multiple movies, TV adaptations, Broadway musicals. And everybody knows who Stephen King is today. A big thing about Stephen King today is he's got 5 simultaneous projects going on right now, all adaptations of books of his and things he's written. 5 that are like dropping this month. That's crazy. That's unheard of. There's a lot of John Grisham stories and TV shows and movies, but nothing like 5 that drop like in 1 week or 1 month. I mean, it's crazy. Why? I mean, it's because Stephen King, he is insanely creative, but I think the reason that we've heard of him and he's not a creative genius that we've never heard of is because he's just stayed prolific. He just keeps writing and writing and writing. There's tons of stuff we've never read, I'm sure, and there's, you know, but the guy's written over like 90 books, hundreds of magazine articles. He's, I think, got something like 238 IMDb movie credits. The guy, the reason he wins is he played the odds. He's good, but he did a lot of it, and some of it hit, some of it didn't. But I think that's something that a lot of us have to take to heart. Like, it's what I take to heart with my writing and even these vlog posts. I can't predict what's going to work. I think some of the stuff I'm going to do is going to be super successful. People don't watch it, or people don't upvote it on Medium or whatever. And the stuff that I'm just like kind of fair about, that it's like, I don't know about this one, sometimes turns out to be the most popular stuff. So my goal is obviously to get better. I'm constantly practicing, trying to get better, but I keep reminding myself I've got to stay prolific. I've got to keep hitting the publish button, not kind of getting focused on just one idea and playing the odds. And maybe one day I can get even just a fraction of where Stephen King has gotten in his life. So that's it. That was like 11 minutes or 10 minutes, and that's it. I hope you guys got something out of that. Anybody in the chat room want a quick chat? Questions? Anybody got any questions? I'll talk about it another time. There's a scene, what's up, Brad? How's everybody's night? Cool. I hope you liked it. But yeah, I'm going to keep this short. Thank you for tuning in, Brad, and thank you for tuning in, everyone. I'll maybe answer some more questions in the beginning of one. I should do like a Q&A live episode or something. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and spending part of your evening with me. I hope you dug this. I hope you dig all of these. Please hit the thumbs up. Please spread it. I really could use a lot more spreading of this channel. If you've got just a time to send a link to a friend or whatever, I would really appreciate it. And that's it. I hope you guys have an awesome night, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.